what I've got here is another lock. Now this one I got from China, again, because I get a lot of stuff from China. So this is a really nice one. This is, as you can tell, it's not a cylinder, it is actually an electronic lock set that I got. It's an RFID lock, supposedly for hotels. I'll just show you some features of it. Of course, the first thing you get is RFID card, which looks like this. So that opens it. And then you scan it again, and it's locked. Now, of course, that's the RFID function. And the second thing is, you take a look at the side. This looks like a really standard American mortise lock case, but none of the stuff here is really actually standard. You can't really put a mortise cylinder in here because it's the fact that it's not made for a mortise cylinder. So, if we just take a look at this, see over here on the bottom, we have a deadbolt. A full 1-inch deadbolt, which is nice, and you also have this dead locking pin, and it doesn't really work for some reason. It's supposed to, but see, it doesn't really work. Maybe because the lock case is broken, I might have to replace it. So anyhow, that's the lock case. You can see, throw the bolt like that, and if you take a look over here on the inside, you'll get a handle. Now this one on the inside is actually an interconnected lock set. So what that means is that if you were to lock the deadbolt, instead of having to release the deadbolt by turning the thumb turn and doing the latch, you can actually just retract the deadbolt and the latch at the same time with the interior handle. So that's a neat feature. But one thing that I found was that this deadbolt is not really a privacy function deadbolt. It's just for added security. Which is good, but actually there is actually one problem. One problem is this deadbolt. You can lock it from the inside, but you can't lock it from the outside unless if you have the key. The key is only for the manager, however. I'll show you the key in the cylinder later. But the thing is, you see, like I said, the deadbolt, it's not like other deadbolts where it's a privacy function, because if you take this card, which is the guest card, you can still unlock it, and you can even retract the deadbolt like that. But you can't lock the deadbolt. There's no way to lock the deadbolt unless if you had the key, which is an override key, and only the manager would have the key. So yeah, that's the lock, and show you, it works. See, it's locked, and it's really nice. So in the next section of video, I will show you guys how this thing works. Excuse me. So I'm back with the lock, and I'm going to discuss talk about how this lock works. And so the way it works is, of course, you get the outside handle, which has most of the electronic components, which includes the antenna, which accepts the RFID card. So you can do that, and then afterwards you got the inside part, which has a battery pack. To remove the battery pack, you just have to remove the top 2 screws over there, and once you have the 2 screws removed, you can pull this black cap out, and that would be the battery pack. Now, the way this lock works is, the lock doesn't just work because of the fact that it has a clutch on the outside handle, like other locks, but rather, it locks and unlocks because of the fact that the lock case is an electromechanical lock case. And the way it works is, actually, if you take a look at, most of the lock cases, you will actually see this square hole. That square hole is actually where, that's actually like the clutch. For this lock, it's a clutch mechanism. And unlike other locks, this one actually has a split clutch. And what I mean by the split clutch is that there's one clutch and it's actually split into 2, and so there's the outside part of the clutch and the inside part of the clutch. The outside part of the clutch, it doesn't always engage with the latch, whereas the inside part of the clutch, it is always going to be engaged to the latch, and so this means that you can always retract both the deadbolt and also the latch bolt with the inside. Now, the way this works is when you actually present the correct card to the lock, what will happen is that it'll actually send a signal it'll actually, like, what'll happen is that in the circuit board it'll send a signal to the lock case to either move a solenoid or move a motor to actually connect the inside and the outside clutch, allowing the lock to open, as you can tell, which is like that. Now, why does this retract the deadbolt as well? The reason why is because it's a really simple mechanism. If you remember, I was talking about the split clutch actually at the beginning of this video. This split clutch, actually, the way it works is that the motor, or there will usually be a motor or a solenoid. What will happen is that it will actually connect the inside and the outside clutch, and because of the fact that it'll connect the outside clutch with the inside clutch, you can retract the deadbolt, and it'll be basically like using the inside handle. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I tried explaining it. So yeah, that's how it works. Now, another thing is, if you take a look over here, the wiring is actually fairly simple. You get this wire. Now, the smaller wire is for the power, because all the batteries and all the power is actually in the inside handle. And what will happen is that this battery pack will be connected to the mortise lock case, which will do all the locking and unlocking. Then afterwards, you get another wire, another cord, which if I turn this over, you'll see is that there's going to be a lot of other colors over here. Now, the way this works is that these wires, these are actually what sends signals to the lock case to either accept the card or reject the card, and it also tells the lock to unlock or lock. So yeah, that's all there is to it. That's how this lock works. And so in the next section, I will talk about picking the lock, because there is a bypass cylinder. So see you in the next section of the video.
Takes two hearts together to make a love affair run smooth. Oh yeah.
The backup cylinder. So the way it works is, let's say the electronics fail, the clutch breaks, or the lock runs out of power, or let's say you don't have the card, or the card is lost or it's broke or something like that. The way you would actually unlock this door is that you'd use a key. And so in this case it is a dimple key. So if I just get this focused on nicely, if you take a look over here, it's really hard to get this to focus, but sorry, not really super used to this camera again. If you take a look, there we go. So there's the bitting of the lock, and this lock, you see, it has a cylinder. This is not a mortise cylinder, it's just a cheap cylinder with a cam on the back. And so the way it works is, you insert your key, and if you turn it once, it'll retract the bolt. Now, actually, even after retracting the bolt, the lever will still not retract the latch. So the way it works is you'd have to turn it another 90 degrees, and then you can pull the latch back. Now once you pull the latch back, the door would open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to pick this lock. So yeah, so as you can tell, if I don't have my key in all the way, the lock will not open. But that doesn't matter, we don't need a key or a card, since, like I said, it's a really cheap cylinder. So to pick it, all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a half diamond, which is over here. If I'll zoom in on it, see there's the half diamond, and then I'll use the Z-bar. So so let's begin with the picking process. And yeah, this lock is the bypass cylinder again, and so to show you, it does still indeed work. So I'm just going to pick it right now. So to pick it, we're going to use the tools that I showed you before, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this to the side so you can see what's going on. Then I'll rake this open. It's not hard to open. And there you go. That's once. So if I zoom out, this lock, got it once, and if I zoom out even more, if you take a look at the top, you'll get the latch, and so I'm going to raise it once more, and as you can tell, the latch can be pulled back. So yeah, that's it. So that was picking the lock, and I also did a small review on the lock. So yeah, in conclusion, this lock only cost me $20. So it's not too bad of a lock, but I wouldn't really recommend it for security because of the fact that it's got a really easy lock to pick, and also the lock case doesn't really feel super heavy duty. And if you were really trying to attack this, another thing was that it does come with a strike plate, and the strike plate is really light duty, and the screws for it are puny. So if you're going to go ahead and try to kick this open, it would definitely open. Another thing is that with the lack of the privacy function, this lock is, I wouldn't say it's useless, but I'd just say that it'll definitely give customers an illusion of security. And so I'm just saying that if you ever run into one of these locks and you stay at that hotel and you stay in a room with this lock, I would recommend that you be careful, because these locks, they do not have a privacy function. The deadbolt is only for added security, but nothing more. And yeah, so all in all, $10 is not a bad investment for this lock. I would recommend it if you want to put it on a door that maybe like you don't care too much about security, but you also want it to be, you want it to be locked and you want it to be convenient. This lock would be great. And yeah, it's not too bad of a lock, but being that it's got such a light duty lock case, it will break, and I cannot guarantee that this lock will last very long. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please keep your picking legal, and do keep watching, since I will be posting more videos. And as usual, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Rate and comment this video, please. Thank you.